And the Dagenham Destroyer is back in the ring this weekend. Kevin Mitchell is one of the most exciting and promising of British boxers. And Mike, there's a lot in the Kevin Mitchell story. Tell us a bit about him.
Well, he was a top-class amateur. He won the ABA National Championship at featherweight at the age of 18. That was in 2003. And at that stage, he could have taken the Amir Khan route by attempting to qualify for the Athens Olympics a year later. But he decided to turn pro there and then. He became British super featherweight champion 2 years ago. He's always been highly regarded, always thought of as better than domestic level. But he's had a lot of bad hand injuries, particularly on the left hand. And that stunted his growth as a fighter. But suddenly 6 months ago his career was revived when he had a brilliant points win against the Colombian Bradis Prescott. We've been talking about him tonight, the man who knocked out Amir Khan in a single round. And now Kevin is edging closer to world title glory with this fight coming up at the weekend. And I met up with him at Upton Park where the fight's taking place last week, and he reflected on how just a year ago he was so low that he had to supplement his earnings by working on the London Underground at Clapham Junction.
Yeah, I was working on the railways for a while, you know. I had to make ends meet, you know, to get some money for my mortgage, start paying my tax bills up as much as any way I could pay it up. It was the works, obviously, because I wasn't fighting, and yeah, I was working on the railway with the boys, and I had a good time. I had the time of my life.
But that's the kind of time, Kevin, when you can't afford to feel sorry for yourself, when you've got an onus to look after your family.
When times get hard, I suppose, you've got to get hard, you know. That's why I've been brought up, you know, you can tell my mum and my dad's like the same sort of people as I am, you know, very hard upbringings they've had, same as me. I think when times get hard, you just get hard. You don't whimper at things because things are hard. Like, this fight's going to be hard, and I'm going to get even harder in this fight, and that's what I'm going to show Mike. We'll see this what it's all about tonight.
At times like that, was there a reluctance to get involved in work like that, Kevin? Because people around you would have come to realise that you were making your way, hoping to make your way towards stardom, and yet you had to suddenly veer off and do a job like that.
Yes, I think a lot of people were shocked to even see me on Underground. When I was on there, I had blokes from Ireland, blokes from up North, Liverpool, Scotland coming on Underground working with me. Bloody, what's Kevin Mitchell doing on here, you know? But what you got to understand is when you ain't earning the money, when you ain't fighting, we're not like anyone else. You know, we're fighters. All fighters are the same sort of people, the same as everyone. We're from working class backgrounds, non-wild backgrounds, and I think I had to go to work. But I mean, it did shock a lot of people when I was working, and I went back to work. But I mean, that don't bother me. Every now and then now, like if my mate's dad still needs like a day's work on, like, his electrician, if he needs a bit of help carrying his tools and things, he'll go, bump, Kev coming, I need an hand to that. So I go, bump, I'll straight and help him out, cash in my hand, bang. And I'll still do it now, so that's even up to now. And that'll be even when I'm a world champion, I'm earning loads of money.
Why do you think that's important, Kevin? I mean, we're sitting here in the stands at Upton Park, and you couldn't really believe that a footballer would do that.
Footballer probably wouldn't do it, no. But I was in fighters, I won't let nothing change me, you know. I am me, you can tell what I'm like. I'm a very, very down-to-earth, level-headed kid. No, yeah, footballers probably wouldn't do that, but I think I've done that because I had to do it, and I think this just shows a bit about myself and what I'm about. If I have to get money, I'll go get money, and it means if I have to work, I'll work for it. If I can't fight no more, so I mean, hopefully now, as I'm saying to now, at this game now, I can earn a lot of money, earn millions, and secure my family.
Love his attitude, Mike. It's amazing how his career's really taken off in the past 6 months.
Yes, it is. He changed trainers. That's kind of a theme of what we've been talking about tonight. Malinagi's done the same, as has Amir Khan. He's now working with Jimmy Tibbs, and that win over Prescott just before Christmas was their first fight together, a spectacular KO since then. And so everything's turned around, and now he's looking at beating Katsidis on Saturday night, and then for him a huge range of avenues open up ahead of him.
And he was considering retirement, Steve, 18 months ago, is that right?
Yeah, absolutely, because what happened, he had this hand injury and he didn't feel like his career was going anywhere. I spoke to Frank Warren earlier on today, and Frank said, yeah, you know, Kevin does put you under pressure. Young kids that turn pro after glittering amateur careers, they're the ones that put the promoters under more pressure. They want to run, they want to sprint before they learn to walk. So this kid was saying, I can knock him out, I could do this, I could do that, from his very first days. And he was putting Frank under an awful lot of pressure, and there was not runnings, not fallouts, but you know, Kevin's hand is okay, straight away it's okay. He wants a world title fight, he wants it at Upton Park, he wants a European title fight, I'll fight in Vegas. Well, it's a slow old process, the boxing business, and at that point when he was earning a few quid on the railways, having a laugh, getting his head right, probably less stressed out, because fighters get stressed, you know, they get stressed, and at that point he was, I won't say close to walking away, but he could have in theory walked away. And what we heard there was, you know, we heard there the honesty, and that's why there'll be maybe 20,000, maybe even more at Upton Park on Thursday. This isn't just, let's not reel out any East End boxing heroes. This may be, he's about as genuine and as East End and as proper as they say down there. And as much a working class hero as anyone I can remember covering in 25 years and anyone I can remember following in the last 40 years, to be honest with you, he ticks every single box. It's almost fairy tale like.
Yeah. And Mike, we said he's fighting for the interim WBO title. What's an interim title?
Well, it's a money-making exercise for the World Boxing Organisation, to be frank. But here's what it means for Kevin Mitchell. If he wins on Saturday night, he'll then be described as the WBO's interim champion at lightweight. Now, the full-scale champion is Juan Manuel Marquez, and he's defending his title in July. If at some stage after that he decides to vacate the title, then Kevin Mitchell, as the interim champion, without having to fight again, will be upgraded to full champion status. So that's why this fight on Saturday night could turn out to be even more important than it seems at this stage.
And Stevie, as you said, 20,000 possibly expected at Upton Park.
17 sold already.
Right. Stacey Solomon singing the national anthem.
Oh, this is. It's the comic potential for ringside, Mike and Richie. You're missing out. Just close your eyes and picture this, okay? We've got Joe Cole and several members of Chelsea's FA Cup team. They've got permission from Ancelotti to go there, win or lose. Okay, we've got Ray Winstone. You notice I said Winstone. That's because that's how you pronounce Ray Winstone. We've got the skinny girl from EastEnders with the short dresses. We've got the fat geezer from EastEnders who wears the flowery shirts. We've got about 3 dozen EastEnders, ex-EastEnders there. Hopefully Barbara Windsor will put in a cameo performance, and we've got the Cockney Rejects live singing him, the Oi band singing him to the ring. This is
absolutely no cliches here.
Oh, we ticked. Listen, it's my favourite expression. It's my cliche of the night. We're going to tick every single box. Warren could barely behold himself. He's going to sit at ringside and eat jellied eels.
So, Rich, are you jealous? Would you rather be actually at Upton Park than out there in New York? I mean, we can hear the traffic in the background. It all sounds very glamorous, but Upton Park is the place to be.
The way Steve has just described that, I'm on the next plane.